Okay, first things first, I know I'm covered in dog hair. That's what happens when you wear black and you got shepherds that like to get in your lap and make out with you. I apologize for that. So, my thoughts on the whole Epstein release of the Epstein files situation. Uh, look, I gotta say, I'm just gonna say it in no particular order, just whatever comes to mind. Is the FBI withholding evidence? Of course they are. And look, after 30 years in law enforcement, 12 of them as a federal agent with an inspector general's office in Washington, D.C., it breaks my heart to actually have to admit, and I have admitted in the last couple of years, that I just don't trust the FBI or our federal law enforcement, which is so sad to me because, for so much of my life, I thought they were like the elite and, but I've had my wake up calls in terms of how I feel about our government in the past, really since Obama was elected. Things started to come. I'm a slow guy, but I get there eventually. And it's just uncomfortable to have worked so hard in law enforcement and then have to admit that we have such treasonous shit going on. It's gut wrenching. That being said, as far as this release goes, look, I love Trump. I love the new administration, but I do believe that Trump and some of his people, they have a very bad habit of promising shit that's just not deliverable. Hey, we're going to release everything on day one. I'm going to end the war, and on day one, those are not doable things, and they shouldn't be said because unfortunately, there's a large part of our population that believes every single thing they hear, and they don't think beyond what they hear. No offense to people that do that. We become, lazy, and we want to believe everything we hear without really giving it too much deep thought. And I can just tell you this, when you have a complex law enforcement investigation, you have to look at it more like a crock pot as opposed to a microwave. You can get shit done super fast and it's going to fall apart in court. It doesn't do anybody any good to get things done super fast when it comes to complex cases. You got to do them right so that prosecutions can happen and that evidence can be introduced. And that's why I don't like this whole, hey, we're going to release everything, by 12 o'clock on whatever day. It's not reasonable. I would have said, hey, man, we're going to do it as soon as humanly possible. But, that train has left the station, and here we are. So, is the FBI destroying evidence? There's without question, and they are destroying evidence. I mean, to anybody with a brain cell, we know that's happening. It probably started 5 seconds after Trump was elected and has been going nonstop. So, this is you got young people that are in huge positions for the first time, and they're up against a law enforcement entity that, in my opinion, has been doing bad things for a very, very long time. And, people get good at what they do, whether they're doing the right thing or the wrong thing, they get really good at it. And these people have a lot to lose. If you were part of some subversive part of the FBI or the CIA or whoever, you're not just going to roll over when you're looking at, at the very least, loss of a job, and at worst, loss of your freedom. So there's a huge incentive for them to not cooperate. Unfortunately for them, not cooperating in this case is completely treasonous. In my mind, I wish we enforced the law like we did years ago, and I think people should be basically tried, and if they're found guilty of this type of treason, should be executed, because this is a civil war, an internal civil war, where you have rogue law enforcement officers who don't give a crap about the Constitution, the oath that they've taken. And there is no excuse for this. There should be no leniency. So what would you do, Mike, if you were the king? If I was the king, I've said this from day one, man. If I was the king, if I was Cash Patel, I would have got, at a minimum, 100 of my best agents. And if I had to use the military, I'd use it, through a presidential order or whatever, however it would be done. But I would get the best, tactically best and trustworthy agents, and I would literally head to the New York office, surround it, enter it, have everybody exit the building, every single one of them, and all of the agents assigned a home with pay. And I would look at that New York building as a crime scene, and it would be processed as such. No matter how long it took, I would go through every single hard drive, every single piece of paper, whatever hasn't been destroyed, and at the same time, I would have teams of people conducting intense interviews to include polygraphs on the agents that might even remotely be involved. I mean, I would polygraph the freaking janitor of that building because it's this serious. You know, if we're going to have a country that is a country that lives by laws and the enforcement of those laws and consequences, then we got to do it. You can't do it halfway. If you do it halfway, you end up with what we have. You know, the FBI has lost focus on what its mission is. It's an intelligence gathering agency, which is not really what it was designed for. The FBI should be involved in federal criminal investigation, bank robberies, and all kinds of shit that we used to see in the movies when we were kids. That's what they should be doing. That's what they used to be good at. Not setting up honeypots, you know, traps and all this shit that you can use to blackmail political people that you don't align with. You know, you have to ask yourself, what's the incentive for these people to be doing that? Are people getting paid off? Somebody must be getting paid somewhere. People don't risk their freedoms for free unless they're nutcases. So there's got to be a payoff, and I would be looking into what is the payoff? What's the payoff for these people to totally disregard the orders of the Attorney General of the United States? That is, in my opinion, nothing short of treason, and it should be dealt with like that. And, you know, I'll tell you, until I start seeing somebody fucking in an orange jumpsuit, not just with the FBI, but with all of these high-powered officials in Congress. You know, you got, what's her name from, where is she from? Oh, good God, I never can remember. You know, the congressperson that was supposedly married to her brother in Somalia. I think she's from Somalia. You know, you got her instructing on, you know, on video, instructing people how to break the law, how to escape ICE, and you know, these are crimes, man. These are crimes, and our country has gotten so low that it doesn't even raise an eyebrow anymore. And that's the problem when you have this kind of shit go on for so long. People get overwhelmed and eventually diluted and then disinterested. It's like, oh, well, we live in a corrupt country. We don't have to have a corrupt country. Our Constitution, it was written in a way to prevent this type of shit. We need to adhere to that Constitution, and if people aren't going to adhere to it, they need to be dealt with, whether that's by removal from office or if they've broken the law, they need to be arrested and tried and convicted. And there cannot be this wishy-washy, you know, let's go throw people in front of a congressional hearing, and then the whole fucking world knows that they're lying through their teeth. You know, can you identify what a female is? No, I'm sorry, Senator, I can't do that. You know, that's not acceptable, man. There has to be repercussions to people that are entrusted by us, the citizens of the United States. We entrust these people. We give them the power. You know, when I was a training officer with the Los Angeles Police Department in the 80s and 90s, I used to tell my probationers, you know, when I would give them my introduction speech, you know, part of it was to remind them that, you know, when somebody's motherfucking you and talking shit about you and everything, it's not you personally, man. The badge that we wear is a symbol. It's a symbol of the citizens who have entrusted us with unbelievable power to be armed and to use force all the way up to and including deadly force if need be. And we cannot forget that that's who we represent. You know, it's not me that these people hate. It's what we represent. So we need to do as much as we can to show people as officers and as federal agents that we are following the Constitution and we have respect and reverence for the Constitution, and that we understand our position is a position of trust that is given to us by the people, whether we're working in Mayberry, RFD, some little podunk, you know, city, if we're a cop there or a sheriff's deputy. Those people have empowered us to be there and entrust us. all the way up to and including FBI and CIA operators. You know, so yeah, I don't mean to go off on a tangent, but I would just ask people to just try and consider the reality that in order for things to be done properly, they got to be done slow. It's just like when you're teaching people to shoot. There's a saying that slow is fast. You can be the first guy out of the holster and the first guy pulling the trigger, but if you're not hitting your target, what good is it? Better to be slow and accurate than fast and inaccurate. So, anyways, I hope that helps. And yeah, that's it. Hope everybody has a great rest of your day.